This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, and verse 12. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 12. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, it's the brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, now today is March the 18th, all right, 2024. All right, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. And, we're inching closer and closer to the eclipse, all right, of 2024, what is known as the Great American Eclipse, okay? And that's going to be on April 8th, 2024. All right, now there's been a lot of things that's been leading up, all right, leading up to this eclipse that should be, should basically a cause for concern. All right, I was watching the elder brother, the priest Amawanga Bar, all right, yesterday, I believe, and he was going into this lady who was given basically a heads up that there's a lot of things that's going on. They got the National Guard being dispersed, all right, throughout certain states in the country, right? I caught a little bit of the elder Yashuamba's video today, and he was bringing out that there's the I believe Illinois, the governor of Illinois has instituted a state of emergency. An executive order, I should say, right? An executive order for this so-called eclipse. Now, we've also been seeing over the past couple of weeks that they're giving people heads up, to stock up on food and, food for 2 weeks. Schools are being closed on that day. So there's a lot of things that are lining up for that day, right? And it's a highly spiritual day, so who knows, right? And being that it's falling on specific days with that kind of thing happening, right? That thing being the eclipse, we know that these people on the left-hand side always go into some form of ritual, okay? And an eclipse, whether it be a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, is high energy for people on the left-hand side, the Satanists and the demons and so on and so forth. It just happened to be that this year at the so-called Super Bowl, well, I didn't watch it, but the halftime show and all these different things, you have Taylor Swift, all right, all these things that's been going on from last year all the way to this year, has been almost like it's gearing people up for a very, very satanic 2024, okay? And knowing that this eclipse makes an X over America, who knows exactly, all right, what's going to happen, whether it be on that day, all right, whether it be a few days before or a few days after, whatever the case may be, all right, we know that this is a highly spiritual time, okay? And if it's highly spiritual, then you know that these devils going to be tapping into some shit. All right, now, one thing I wanted to go into was a few of the signs, right? Secular signs that we should always look out for. And one of them is right here, an article that says FBI Colorado Springs hospitals train for biological terrorism attack. Okay, and this was back in February 21st of this year. Okay, so a few weeks ago, and they had a training, a drill, basically. Okay, and in the post edits, I'll put it in there so you can see exactly what they were drilling for. All right, but I'm going to read a little bit of the article so you know exactly what's going on. But again, it goes to show you every time they have these drills, exactly what they're training for actually tends to happen. Okay, so it could be anything. It could be anything. But we know these devils have an agenda, and they have to create a problem that's going to lead the people into a direction that they could present a solution. All right, and then we know that the last major prophecy that's left is the fulfillment, all right, of the MOTB, otherwise known as the mark of the beast. Okay, but there are events that lead to that. Okay, secular events that lead to that, things that people might not be paying attention to, or might not know, or might look at as coincidence, or might look at as by chance incidents, but we know them as steps leading to the MOTB, right? Because when you know what Plan Z is, whenever they start from Plan A, right? Esau doesn't just jump from Plan A to Plan Z. He goes Plan A, and then he'll jump maybe to B, right? C, and then people are kind of like lulled to sleep. And he might jump, instead of D, he might go to E and F. He might skip 2 steps and then he jump to G. That's how they move. Okay, but either way, they always have these gradual steps. And I coined the phrase, something known as accelerated gradualism. Okay, but let's read this real quick. It says, Colorado Springs, Colorado. It says common spirit. We always got to look at the names, right? The names, the numbers, right? Because they always use these to speak in code. Okay, so that those on the left hand side who are on the inside can understand what's being said. Okay, so that's how they always communicate. They put it in plain sight, but it's written in code. So if you don't really know what they're talking about, it goes over your head. Okay, so it says common spirit, Penrose Hospital, St. Francis Hospital, and St. Francis Hospital Interquest partnered with the FBI for a full-scale, unannounced mock bioterrorism disaster exercise on Wednesday. Okay, very interesting, right? It says the mock disaster scenario involved people coming in unannounced to the hospitals with symptoms from a mock bioterrorism incident where botulinum toxin had been placed in people's milk. A hospital official told 11 News these drills are important in keeping staff on their toes and better prepared. Better prepared for what? For bioterrorism attack? Very interesting. Okay, and I have my theories, right? I have my own theories that it's nothing for Esau to have something spread out. Apparently there's a measles outbreak, which is really not being pushed by the mainstream for a reason. Okay, but they're keeping it hush hush for some reason out in Illinois. Okay, out in Illinois, and it's interesting how the eclipse of April 8th will hit a place in Illinois known as Little Egypt. Okay, so it's very interesting that they have a measles outbreak going on over there, and it's nothing for Esau to keep it hush hush until the appropriate time and then let that shit loose. Okay, it's nothing for them to put it where on that same day where the eclipse hits, they might release something, and then people might just go about their day. Next thing you know, it starts spreading, right? You've been hearing a lot about these so-called deer zombie virus, right? They got the Ebola, they got Zika, they got all kinds of shit. So who knows? They might just boil it all up together and bring it out and call it disease X, which happens on the day of the eclipse that makes an X over America. Who knows? Who knows? Right? I'm just speculating. But again, we don't put it past these devils. All right. You always gotta, look into it. At least consider it. So continuing, it says, hospital staff and other agencies go through numerous drills throughout the year. Officials said that this helps officials determine what needs the hospitals or other agencies may have depending on the situation. Okay. It says a special agent with the FBI said no drill or exercise goes 100% smoothly, but they consider every drill they do to do a success because it helps identify what improvements need to be made to the FBI and local hospitals' responses, as well as other agencies. Okay, so that is what they got going on out there. All right, this happened again February 21st, 2024. Right, it makes you go right. And then another one that I noticed, okay, which let me find it real quick. See if I have it here. Another article that I came across that I'd like to share. Okay, was also this one is regarding communication. Okay, and this was a few days ago, actually. All right. It says police, emergency staff, deaf community hold meeting to increase communication. Okay, so let's read a little bit on that. It says From communicating with a police officer during a traffic stop to struggling with alerts and notifications during a natural disaster, members of Frederick County's deaf or hard of hearing community face a range of challenges in dealing with emergency services. Members of the deaf and law enforcement communities gathered at the Frederick Police Department's Academy near Frederick on Thursday evening for a town hall event with the Maryland Deaf Community Center and emergency services personnel. Linda Stoltz, president of the Maryland Deaf Community Center, said emergency situations aren't easy for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. So it's kind of interesting how they're pushing this now, right? Basically leaving or not leaving any stone unturned, right? So they want to make sure that everyone has some form of communication or they can get some form of alert. Okay, which is interesting. And it reminds me of what happened last year. I think it was in August or October. I think it was October of last year. It might have been October 2nd or October 3rd, right? Where they had that alert thing that went off on everyone's phone, right, across the country. Okay. And then I believe earlier that year, I believe the people of the Senate, they received some phones in case something was to go down. They had some form of way of communicating with each other, right? So all these things are all leading up, so it's not something that we could just turn a blind eye to. Okay. These are all things that they do ahead of time. So by the time these things happen, you might have forgotten all about it. Okay. But we don't forget. Okay. So let's continue. It says, during traffic stops, fires, or other emergency situations, communication with emergency services can be tough, Stoltz said through a sign language interpreter. During the C-19 pandemic, the deaf community felt lost, she said. Why is that? I mean, they could see what's going on, they just couldn't hear. So why would they feel lost? Because there ain't shit going on. It was all made up. But the next one, like Bill Gates said, that'll get their attention. Okay? So continue, it says, more and more people who are deaf or hard of hearing are moving to Frederick County, she said. She's seen an increasing desire to bridge the gap between the deaf and hearing communities. We need little things like this, she said. Frederick County has about 52,000 deaf residents, according to a statistic presented Thursday night. The event's participants included Frederick Police Chief Jason Lando, Frederick County Sheriff Chuck Jenkins, Maryland State Police Frederick Barrack Assistant Commander, Deputy Sergeant? Something Sergeant, Brandon Stein, Chief Tom Coe of the Frederick County Division of Fire and Rescue Services. It's very interesting, right? All these different, parts of, the police, the fire department, they're all part of this, right? Tony Rosano, Acting Director of Emergency Management for the county, and the county's Communications Director, Vivian Laxton. Okay? It says Frederick's Police Academy has a full day of training for recruits on interacting with members of the deaf community. From performing traffic stops to answering questions about deaf culture, said Officer Maggie Lee, the department's liaison to the deaf and hard of hearing community on this multicultural liaison unit. Sheriff's Office recruits get training at various academies they attend, as well as a 1 hour block of inter-service training for deputies, Jenkins said. And then it goes on and on and on and on. I want to highlight some the most important parts. It says here, Rosano answered questions about how the county's 911 and dispatch operations handle emergencies or natural disasters with those who are deaf or hard of hearing. Okay, so like I said before, they want to make sure that their emergency services are up and running when it comes to communication. They want to make sure they get to everyone. Everyone is on the same page. Okay, And what it's very interesting, right? I'm just saying it's very interesting to me. Okay, but for them to have a drill, of a so-called biological, terrorism attack. Okay, and then they also, working on the communication lines and so on and so forth. You got states, dispersing National Guard troops. Out here in New York, they use the excuse of, trains are unsafe and all this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But when people are falling for it, as a damn police state, and people are falling for it. But this is all is coming in. This is called mission creep. Okay, all part of gradualism. They don't just, most of the time, Esau is not just going to come in and just put it right in your face. Boom, here it is, hardcore. Nah, because people are going to resist. It comes off as very sinister and oppressive. So they don't do that. They always sneak it in. It's all mission creep. Creep it in slowly, slowly. Next thing you know, it becomes the norm and the mainstay. Okay. But yeah, man, this is, something I just want to bring out, something I was thinking about, adding a few things here and there, and just watching what's going on. All right. That's our job anyway. Okay. So let me get a quick precept here. All right. And this is all going to happen suddenly. Okay. Again, it could happen before, it could happen on, or it could happen after the eclipse. Okay. There's a book of, let's see, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. It says, no, actually, start at 1. It says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, and that's the time that we're in now, because most governments around the world are pushing for that. Even here in America, a lot of these states are pushing for shit like that. They keep telling the people, or trying to convince the people, that everything they're doing is to keep them safe, right? They got the military out here in New York, and the number one thing they're doing it for is to what? Is to keep the New Yorkers safe, right? So peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape, right? A woman with child, a travailing woman, right? She goes through birth pains, right? And we're living in the time of the birth pains. Okay. Just today alone, I saw a lot of notifications about earthquakes. All right. Just in the East Coast. Okay. A lot of earthquakes. Let me see if I can find a couple right here. Right. It says small earthquake rattles parts of New York State. Okay. It says earthquakes rattle the eastern U.S. with quakes in Maine, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Tennessee. All right. So that's another sign right there. Okay. Another sign the Lord is showing you. It says how many earthquakes happened this month in New York, which is unusual. New York normally doesn't get earthquakes like that. Like all these other countries, you get 7.1 or 7.3. I believe earlier this year, there was a 7.3 that hit, was it Japan? I think, I think on the first day of 2024, there was an earthquake. It just came out with the boom, right? So that's at the temple, right? And 3 months later, look where we at, right? So a lot of things are lining up. They got apparently there's going to be a blood moon, all right? I believe on the 24th or 23rd, 24th or 25th, one of those, right? So there's a blood moon coming, okay? And that's also written in the scriptures. Okay, let me see if I can get that real quick. All right, that's all biblical prophecy. It's all going into the signs. Okay, it's all going into the signs, man. And of course, people are not, paying attention, but that's okay. Okay, that's okay. This is a book of Acts chapter 2 and verse 19. It says, and I will shew wonders in heaven above and signs in the earth beneath. Okay, so it's not just things that's going on in the heavens, okay, the ones that we can at least understand, okay, the obvious ones, but also things that are going to be happening here on the earth. Okay, things that, like, for example, I saw an article today. They said that people are getting married in 2024. There's an uptick in marriages. Okay, and I said, oh, that's biblical prophecy, right, of the end times. As in the days of Noah, Yahushua talked about it. right? That there's going to be people marrying, giving into marriage, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's another sign on the earth, right? Signs in the earth is also going into what? The earthquakes, like we just talked about. Okay, the race riots, the fights, all right, the wars against each other. Okay, the famines, right? These are all end time signs, man. Okay, it says blood and fire and vapor of smoke. Okay, blood represents what? Death, pain, destruction, right? What happens as a result of getting blood is when you get cut. Okay, so people are going to be fighting against each other. Is representing, the blood is representing the violence. Okay, the fire and the vapor of smoke. Vapor of smoke is the end result of fire being destructive. Okay, smoke everywhere. Last year you had the so-called, what they told the world was there was wildfires up in Canada, and the smoke was coming all the way over here to America and even parts of Europe. Okay, now who knows what's going to happen this year? I wouldn't be surprised, with all those chemical train derailments that happened last year. They start lighting them shits up on fire, and that's gonna cause another health hazard that they could turn around and say that, hey, we got a solution for it, right? So who knows? But that's how Esau moves. Okay, so Acts 2 verse 20 continue. It says, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before that great and notable day of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai come. Okay, so that's very plain. Okay, the moon into blood, that's going into the blood moon, literally. All right, before the great and notable day of the Lord. Okay, the sun turning into darkness, right? That's the eclipse. Okay, and in 2017 you had an eclipse. 2023 you had an eclipse, and now you got 2024 about to have an eclipse. Okay, just like that, and all these eclipses are hitting, all right, in very spiritual manner. Okay, the cities, the names of the cities that is getting hit with these eclipses, right? The pattern in which these eclipses are making or traveling, right? The symbolism behind it, the days on which it's falling on, right? So there's a lot of numerology, all right, that's tied into all of this, right? Which makes it very significant, right? Going into the signs, okay? And it's all leading to what? It's all symbolizing death, pain, destruction, okay, suffering, right? So let's finish off in 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. Okay, it says, for when they shall say peace and safety, 1 Thessalonians 5 and 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Okay, and who's the they? Those who are not of the elect. All right, because the Lord said he's already made a way for the elect to escape, ultimately by way of Yahushua being the deliverer. All right, but the rest of the people who are not of the elect, they're not going to escape. They're not going to make it out, and they're going to be destroyed. Okay, they're going to be completely destroyed, man. Okay, so yeah, man, just wanted to bring that out real quick. All right, judgment, definitely judgment is right at the door. Okay, Ezekiel the 9th chapter is about to be full in effect. All right, First Peter 4 and 17 is about to be in full effect. Okay, it was at Jeremiah 30 and 7. Jacob's trouble is about to be in full effect. 2nd Ezra the 15th chapter, the 16th chapter is about to be in full effect. All right, and it's all signifying death and destruction upon the wicked, and ultimately the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. All right, so yeah, man, whatever they got planned going, we're going to be paying attention. We're going to be watching. As the scripture says, be not ignorant of anything small, any matter small or great. Okay, so these signs are definitely something that we should always pay attention to, and give the warning as the Lord told us in Ezekiel 3 and 17. All right. So yeah, I'm going to leave it off there. Lo, willing you were edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash, the water Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.
at multiple local hospitals are now better prepared to handle a potential emergency. The FBI spent time in 3 ERs today in our area, walking doctors, nurses, and other staff through what they could do in case of a bioterrorism disaster. 11 News reporter Elmer Mejia Segastumi is joining me live from Penrose Hospital, one of the locations that participated. An agent with the FBI told you that disasters like these help improve communications, or disaster exercises, I should say, help improve communication among staff and others.
Adam, a hospital official says that these drills are important in keeping the staff on their toes and prepared. They say the staff hospital does numerous drills throughout the years. It helps them determine what needs the hospital may have depending on the situation. Special Agent David Autry says no drill ever goes 100% perfectly, but they consider every drill a success because it helps them identify the things the FBI and hospitals need to improve on. Hospital officials say the disaster scenario was a toxin put in people's milk. The goal was to monitor how departments and agencies communicated with one another.
There's a need for all of us. There's no one single agency that can handle this alone. Again, we handle that law enforcement investigation, the lead from the federal side, but that includes our state and local partners from law enforcement, includes public health. When you look at a W&D event, it's going to require all partners to come together.
The FBI and local hospitals say that after these disaster scenario exercises,